Hi all. These are generally conversations between adults after the children have left the table. The language can be spicy and the subjects can get saucy. So if you're ready, this is the Southern Fork. Unscripted kitchen chats and also studio chats with some of the most interesting voices in the culinary South. I'm Stephanie Burt, a food and beverage writer based in Charleston, South Carolina, who travels with her fork to write for a variety of publications, from magazines you might have on your coffee table to the website you love to visit for your favorite recipes. And I'm inviting you to come behind the scenes with me to get to know the people who make this Southern culinary landscape so special. I'm always hungry for the next bite, thirsty for that next sip, and ready for the next conversation. Let's dig in. The Southern Fork is presented this year by Townsend Automotive in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. For more than 40 years, the Townsend family of dealerships has been a locally owned company built on service and connection with its customers. And their experienced team can walk you through the whole process, side by side, from test drive to service oil changes and beyond. I've loved tooling about the southern backroads and super highways this season in a Townsend Honda CR-V. And now I'm hooked on the great gas mileage, the comfortable maneuverability, and that backup camera for parallel parking success. Visit townsendhonda.com for current inventory, or if you're in West Alabama, stop in. Townsend Automotive salutes local entrepreneurs, from restaurateurs to podcasters, and they welcome you to be part of a community that does the same. The Southern Fork's culinary sponsor is Shermer Pecans. It's pecan season in Georgia right now, and if you've never tasted a fresh pecan, now's your chance. Fifth-generation pecan growers, Shermer Pecans, turned me on to how good a just harvested pecan can be. And I'm telling you, it's a world of flavor difference. If you're looking to stock up for the holiday season and beyond, they have lots of different size and package options for you, as well as a brand new product I'm really excited about. You are some of the first folks to know they've also added pecan flour to their online store. Not only does this flour add a wonderful nutty flavor to your recipes, it also adds health benefits to every baked good you make. If you're interested in experimenting with this flour this season, or any of Shermer's products in fact, head to shermerpecans.com and use code FALL21, no space, for 15% off all products for the month of October. That's SCHERMER pecans.com, and your code is FALL21. Taste how good Georgia pecans fresh out of the orchard can be. In the middle of Birmingham, Alabama, sits the behemoth Sloss Furnaces, now a museum, but once the tin man's beating heart of this industrial city. During that era, quick lunches soon became big business, and hot dogs quickly reigned supreme as Chicago restaurateurs made their way down the rail line to new opportunities. In 1947, Gus Alexander, a Greek immigrant, opened Gus's Hot Dogs in its current original location. It's now the last remaining downtown hot dog spot, and owner Lee Pantazis, who honed his kitchen skills while working for the Yellow Bicycle, Satterfields, and Little Donkey, holds court daily, often prepping in the back for the grill guys as they perform a delicate dance up front of grilling, toppings, and keeping all those orders straight. Lee comes from a prominent Birmingham family and sees himself as a caretaker of a uniquely local tradition. And he does like a good hot dog, chips, and Coca Cola in the glass bottle. Welcome to the Southern Fork, Lee.
Hi, how are you doing today? Thanks for having me.
Thanks for letting us pop into your family's law offices right next door to Gus's Hot Dogs.
Yeah, we've got a vested interest in this small corner of the city.
So we are sitting here inside a really fancy conference room, but this is not where you spend your days. You spend your days in a... How many square feet is Gus's?
Let's just ballpark it. It's less than 100.
No.
It is tiny. It's legitimately about 800 to 900 square feet, and that includes the hood vent that takes up about 100 of that.
Yeah, and then also the counter. Well, just the griddle. Yep. And so I've had a lot of calories, Southern Fork listeners, and I'm going to do my best to just rally and. We're going to talk all things hot dogs today.
It's what we do best.
So it's what we do best here. I had to have a Birmingham dog today, and I had to have a hot dog when I came to Birmingham because there is a vibrant, or was a vibrant, hot dog culture here, which you wouldn't think about.
It's really unique.
Like, you think Chicago dog, right?
In the middle of a barbecue city.
All right, Mr. Hot Dog, tell us why.
There's a whole lot of reasons why, but the long and short of it is Birmingham is a blue-collar town. And when you have blue-collar folks, not everybody can drop $30 on lunch. So you've got to have a filling, hopefully warm and hot, and sating lunch. So when you've got folks that are out running, grinding, constructing, policing the streets, nursing, anything, bus drivers, every single walk of life needs something to eat. And we try to fill that void where if you need to get in and out under $10 and still be able to go about the rest of your day, we try to fill that. That is a tradition that hot dogs in this city have been doing for quite some time, dating back to, I believe, Pete's Famous opened in, I want to say 1909, but I could be wrong. And then there's a spot in Montgomery called Chris's, both of which are Greeks running hot dog stands. And Chris's is, I think, the second oldest restaurant in Alabama behind the Bright Star, which is another Greek restaurant.
So the Birmingham dog, let's talk about this.
Okay.
It is a grilled hot dog.
Yep. Half pork, half beef. And we call it the special dog, which lends itself to quite a few problems when people come in and say they'll have the special. Well, do you mean the combo? Do you mean the special hot dog? And then we get I want the beef dog. And that also lends itself to its own particular next set of questions, which is, do you mean a dog that is all beef with no pork in it? Because we offer those as a premium hot dog, because some people like that. Or do you want the ground beef on top of it? And so regardless of whether or not they want the all beef hot dog or the standard hot dog, they usually want the beef on top of the hot dog as well. So our standard hot dog is half pork, half beef. We grill it on a 70-year-old flat top grill. The grill is like grandma's cast iron skillet, and we're lucky to have it. I think it is a cornerstone piece of our business, and
no soap touches it.
We put a lot of elbow grease into cleaning it and making sure that it is beyond sanitary and also retains that, let's call it patina, if you will. And so we do that. A couple of lines of mustard, typically, there and back is what we like to say. You start on one end, go to the other, and then bring it back. And that gives you enough acidity to balance out the fat from the hot dog. We have another archaic piece of equipment that just doesn't exist anymore. We have a bun steamer. So it's about 3 feet tall, and it is a large stainless steel box that circulates steam. And what that allows is the buns get soft and warm, but they don't dry out. So you're not
toasting them.
You're not toasting them, you're steaming them. And it's something that just doesn't exist anymore, because when you get a hot dog, most people toast the buns. And so it gives you a different texture and, to a certain extent, flavor profile, because you're not getting those caramelized sugars that toasting would give.
Right.
So just a different approach. Not better, not worse, different. And so a lot of people aren't used to that. And when they come in and they try a hot dog, they're like, something's different, and they can't put their finger on it.
Yeah.
A lot of times it's the grill. A lot of times it's the bun. We also do a sauerkraut, standard issue. We do onions, fresh cut, and then our ground beef, which is a ground chuck sirloin blend, and then we season it with salt, pepper, and onion. Very simple. We also have our secret sauce, and if you ask me what it is, I'll tell you it's a secret. That being said, it is a tomato-based product. It has some vinegar in it, some sugar in it.
A good dollop of sugar based on my palate. Although, what was the grape drink I had?
Grape-A-Co.
Grape-A-Co. Okay, so despite the Grape-A-Co, I could still taste the sugar in the sauce. So
Grape-A-Co is a Buffalo Rock product, and it is lovely. It is Alabama only, but it is sweet enough to hurt your teeth. The sauce itself is also sweet. It is a derivative of a New York stewed onion sauce where we take onions and vinegar and stew it together to enhance and blend those flavors and meld them into something that cuts the fat of the hot dog very well and blends well with the starch of the bread and the acidity of the kraut and everything else. But it's catered to Southern flavor, and Southern flavor is big and bold. If you're going spicy, you're going spicy. If you're going sweet, you're going real sweet. And our sauce is sweet.
But the Birmingham dog, you were telling me, and I ate it. It's the steam bun, the mustard. You put a piece of sliced cheese in there, American cheese, the hot dog, and then topped with ground beef and the sauce. And you said this is a very uniquely Birmingham dog.
Absolutely.
Why?
Again, we're an industry town. So for a long time, we were called the Pittsburgh of the South. There's a lot of steel. There's a lot of mills. Even today in Bessemer, there's still quite a few different foundries that operate. And when your city is built on those blue collar workers, you need a heartier lunch. So even dating back to historic Southern cuisine, fried chicken, mashed potatoes, things that would fill you up and sate you while you were farming.
Right.
Hot dogs filled that void for an industrial advancement within our Southern culture. And so having a hot, filling, and with the addition of the ground beef, extra caloric lunch, you were able to satisfy the needs of your clientele that were out there grinding and sweating and really putting in some elbow grease in a blue collar field. Kitchen workers get that blue collar feel now, but for a long time, I mean, Sloss Furnace was something that helped shape Birmingham, and hot dog stands on every corner were feeding those folks that were out there building this city from the ground up.
Right. This wasn't always your jam. It might have been your private jam, but it wasn't your public jam, Mr. Fine Dining Chef. So what shifted that made this somehow become an inevitable part of your life?
I don't know if I have enough time to go through the entirety of that, but I think it's safe to say that I love serving people. And I was enjoying the creativity that was involved in fine dining. I enjoyed the creation of new flavors and blends, and it was all new to me when I was fresh out of college. And I had the pleasure of working for some wonderful, talented chefs, Haller McGee, Becky Satterfield. And then I worked for the Pahakis family, which is a Birmingham royalty as far as I'm concerned in regard to restaurants with their Midas touch. And Joshua Gentry at Little Donkey, I had the benefit of working with wonderful people that helped steer me with the idea that, yes, you can still be creative, but at a certain point, our job is to serve people. And the more time I spent serving people, the more time I realized that I'm not a fine dining chef. I'm a grinder. I want to be knee deep with my people, working hard, smiling. I want to shake as many hands as I can and serve as many people as I can. And the easiest way to do that is to have an approachable and affordable product.
And it was packed. The Gus's has been there since 1947. It's an institution in the city. And lots of times when I travel, sometimes institutions are not as beloved on the daily. They're celebrated, but they're not enjoyed very often. That is not the case at Gus's. And you knew, 60% of the people's names coming through. You are working in the tiniest space. And you work with two guys, and their names are?
Alex in LA.
Alex in LA. And LA has been with you how long?
LA and I have been together since we kind of took over and I bought the place in 2017. But LA has been serving the people of Birmingham for almost 20 years at Gus's now. And if I knew 60% of the names, he knew 95 and he knew their orders. So I've had the blessing of working side by side with somebody that is invested in this city and invested in taking care of his guests. And I couldn't be prouder to work with him. He's a good dude, good dad, good person. And that's check in my part. And I'm just proud to be shoulder to shoulder with people that I care about and people that are decent.
Yeah. And everybody's in, they know what they want, they know how to order. I was a fish out of water. You can put me in a tomorrow bar, and apparently I do better than at Gus's Hot Dogs. I don't know why. It was just one of those things. It was just so much fun to watch everybody. I couldn't get it together to order. I was like, I want to see what everyone's getting. And it's just it's a blur of activity. And it is happening right now.
I know you've been to local markets. So when Charleston's got a great local market. When somebody that's never been to a local market goes to one, it's sensory overload. They're shouting and yelling and people that know what they're doing and you don't. Right. And so that compounds the idea of, okay, one, I don't want to embarrass myself. Two, what if I do the wrong thing?
Right. I was like, oh, no.
I don't want to offend them and ask what's good here because there's a menu. That's what they think's good here. Right? So there's a lot to it. But the truth is we run what we call an amoeba formation. You come in, be patient. We're going to get to you as quickly as we can. If we don't acknowledge you the second you walk in, that's our mistake. But we're going to try to get to you the second we realize that mistake. And then from there, we'll walk you through it. We'll point you to the menus.
Grapico et al.
I'm a glass bottle Coca Cola guy, real sugar from Mexico.
I had that as well. And waters.
Waters for days. You got to have waters. You got to have waters. You got to balance it out.
All right. So you're the man who's writing the checks. Give me some stats on how many hot dogs you go through. Because I probably watched like maybe 150 go out the door. So
we will move in and out every single day. From 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., Monday through Friday, Saturday 10 to 4. So Monday to Friday, we do business. Saturday, we kind of sell nostalgia. A lot of grandpas and grandkids and soccer teams and everything else. So some Saturdays are crazy busy. Other Saturdays are a little bit more slow. But Monday through Friday, we tend to be around the 300 to 400 guests served, which is comical given the size of our grill and the pace at which we move. Obviously some days are busier. We do catering. So we've got some great friends that have helped us make it through this COVID pandemic because of their consistent catering orders. At the end of the month, the last Thursday of every month, I get a call from a local car dealership and they want hot dogs for their whole staff. And we are so thankful to be able to do that for them. But at the same time, it may coincide on a day where we are just getting taken advantage of by our clientele. And, it's a great opportunity and I'm super thankful because having business and having people want your product, one is great from, a money standpoint, right? We want to stay busy. We want to continue to operate as a business. But from like a personal standpoint, that's such a validating feeling that people appreciate the hard work you're putting in. And that's worth more than the money any day of the week.
It's really fun to work there, right? It seems fun. It seems like, when you were a kid, when I was a kid and I had the little cooking set, it's like that, you're doing the same thing, but it's busy in and out.
There is a lot of fun that I have in kitchens. I would be lying to you if I told you that I didn't love what I do. I loved it when I was at Satterfields. I loved it when I was at Little Donkey. I loved it. The only time I didn't love what I did was when I was helping facilitate a pig processing plant and I had to witness the life leave an animal. That broke my sensitive heart and I could not continue with that. But I was thankful for that opportunity because it allowed me to see where our food was coming from. I think if it wasn't on an industrial level, I would have enjoyed it more. But on an industrial level, it lost a little bit of the soul for me. I think that's what I love most about Gus's, though. It's that soul of Birmingham, that soul of blue collar people, that soul of, just being here, trying to be kind, trying to find your own way. It exists. It's real. And my heritage is Greek. My father is Greek. My mother's from Mississippi, but she has embraced our Greek culture. And, I think about my grandfather every single day, who was a Greek immigrant that came to Birmingham and ran restaurants. I think about Mr. George every day, who was a Greek immigrant who came to Chicago, was a painter, and then got lured down here to run a hot dog stand somehow, did it for 30 years and endeared himself to a community. And I think about these hardworking people that through gumption, with a language barrier and, times are crazy, and just I think about all these people that made a life and elevated their community. And I want to continue that tradition. I want to be the next version of that. We've said it before, which is I stand on the shoulders of giants, whether it's Gus Alexander at Pete's Famous, or the Chris's Hot Dogs in Montgomery, or Dino's. That's the Goulas family. Ike Goulas' father ran Dino's, and their chili was my favorite growing up. Or Andrew Collins at Lyric. I get the benefit of being the last downtown Greek hot dog stand in Birmingham. When I was growing up, even in the 90s, there was 20. They don't exist anymore. And so we're it, and we're going to carry that torch and continue to serve people the way they deserve to be served, which is as quickly as we can, as correctly as we can, at a reasonable price, with a whole lot of kindness.
And a line out the door.
That's the plan.
Yeah.
That's the fingers crossed, right? If you do things right and you treat people right, hopefully people will continue to support you. And we've been lucky enough to have that. I firmly believe I have the best guest in the world. I've got people that come in at 8 a.m. for a breakfast sandwich, come in at noon for a hot dog, and then come in at 4:30 right before they head home from work, so they grab a burger on the way home. And if that's not the best compliment you can get as a restaurant, then I don't know what is.
Also, we're just going to not look at that salt content.
No. We don't talk about that in the South.
So, growing up in Birmingham, it's a specific place that I'm fascinated. I'm fascinated to travel in the United States. I know a lot of people aren't, but I have a particular way of running around. Fine dining definitely had a space here, but growing up, you grew up in a civil rights lawyer, a lot of, forward thinking. You could have moved anywhere, especially
Absolutely.
As a chef. Why stay?
So one, I'm a mama's boy. I love my mama. I love my daddy. I love my brothers. I've actually seen my brothers walk by the window and waved at them since we've been sitting down having this interview. For a time from about 24 until 33, all three of us, my younger brother, my older brother, and myself, all lived on the same street. And I know some people are saying, "Oh, that's crazy. That's ridiculous." And that it is. We're crazy people. That's fine. I'm willing to.
And just heads up, y'all, he's crazy.
Yeah.
I've been with him for 2 hours. He's crazy.
It doesn't stop. But both my wife and I are invested in our families and our city and our community. To a certain extent, there's the big fish, little pond conversation, right? And I'm not above admitting that I like being a medium-sized fish in a little pond. If I were to go and run a hot dog cart in New York City, I would pay, I believe the last update I saw was the hot dog cart out front of Central Park. To buy the permit, somebody bid $300,000 on it. And that just seems absurd to me. I like the fact that I can see the sky in Birmingham at any given point. I don't have to walk behind a city structure or anything else. I went to a really great high school, Indian Springs, and was able to kind of sow my oats a little bit in terms of traveling. I've been very privileged in that regard. I haven't touched Antarctica, but that's it. I love the United States. I've spent time in New Orleans. I've spent time in California. I've been very lucky to see the world. And so when you have those life experiences, it's not that bad staying home. It's not that bad having some familiar faces and a mama, and, my wife's family's lovely. They live in Birmingham too. And having that safety network of love and support. And, my dad texted me yesterday, hey, we need to order some more masks for the staff. And that he meant his law firm and my restaurant and my mom's art gallery and, the soccer teams that were, that's part of the fun. I've got a close friend from church, Tim Vakakis. He's a football coach at Jackson Olin right down the road. So they've got a football camp where they bring in some kids from around the city, and we went and fed them. And that's something I love. And it's not that you can't do that in New York, but I don't have those connections in New York.
Right. This is home.
This is home, and I know that man. And I love supporting what he does because he's a great dude. And he's changing those kids' lives and in a positive light. And I love that. I love my sleepy little city. I love that on Tuesday night at 10 p.m., there may be 20 cars on the road. I don't have to deal with a 2-hour commute from Jersey to New York, or I don't have to deal with an underground metro or anything like that. Look, Alabama's got its problems. Yeah. Let's not sugarcoat it. Birmingham has its problems. It's part of living in a society with other people. Wires are going to get crossed, heads are going to butt, and things aren't going to be perfect. But this is where I grew up. This is where I know a lot of good people. And I've been surprised by how many of my friends from high school that went out and conquered the world are now coming back to Birmingham to raise their families.
And you have a family at Gus's too.
For better or worse, they put up with me. They probably said the same thing that you just said, which is he is crazy. I've spent 2 hours with him and I don't know what to do.
Well, you've definitely had a journey, and it's very interesting. And, takeout works really well when there's no seats. That it's worked really well in 2020.
So, we used to have seating inside. I've still got chairs and I've got a small little counter that you can do. But I have a very close friend that went to my rival high school, Altamont, and then we went to Alabama together and graduated. And he's a cardiologist. And when this COVID mess started happening, he told me to kind of get my ducks in a row. And this would have been in December 2018 when he told me. So February 14th, 2019, we decided mask on, to go only. We're going to protect our staff, and we're going to protect our guests. It's not been easy, but we're not the only restaurant that's had to deal with it. We're not the only people that have had to deal with it. All of us have. So I'm thankful for our guests that have made the slight alteration, but we're going to get back there eventually. So until then, we're going to continue to protect our guests and ourselves, and to go only has been sustainable. That's good enough for now, given that we're in a once in a generation
thing.
What's
making you hungry? I know enough just of your vibe that you're always thinking about the next thing.
Yep. So for me, I can really get behind this living wage movement. That's something I believe in, which is I've worked for, now granted, I come from privilege. I'm educated. I'm from affluence. Both my parents are attorneys. I've never wanted for anything. I've never worried about a roof over my head. So I can get behind the idea that if you're willing to work for 40 hours a week, you should be able to put some money aside, not only for a house and everything else, but to put your kids through school and everything else. You shouldn't, if you're a grinder and you're willing to put in the time, energy, and effort, you should be okay. And that's what we believe in. That's what we do. We pay well. And so if we can be that at a tiny little hot dog stand, how can we affect that change in a positive way across multiple industries, not just ours?
Yeah.
Because it's not just about my guys getting paid. It's about everybody. It's about everybody having the ability to live that American dream, which in my eyes has it's lost its shimmer to a certain extent. And that's scary to me because I do want to.
Especially for if you know, and I know plenty of people that are never going to pay off student debt.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, there's so much to that.
Or medical debt.
Right. There's so much, yeah, for sure.
Anything. I believe in American excellence. I believe in the American dream, and I believe in the American possibilities. And if I can affect change in my small town of Birmingham, Alabama, and within my little block, be kind, work hard, elevate myself, those around me, and those we serve, that's what hungers me. That's what feeds me, because I don't need $1 billion. If I have $1 billion and I'm not donating enough to charity, every time I see a billionaire, I'm like, why aren't you Batman? Like, you have $1 billion and you're not funding Batman, right?
Yeah.
Okay, like I get it, Warren Buffett's not going to put on spandex. Nobody needs to see that. But how are you not Batman? How are you not feeding kids and saving lives and affecting positive change in a real way? So if I can do that at my restaurant, that's what sustains my soul. That's what feeds me to the point where I wake up and I want to be better.
Right. What's one aspect of your personality that meshes like a puzzle piece with this job at Gus's for you?
When I'm on my feet, I do not stop moving. And that's a good thing for my industry. Now, when I get off work and I go sit down, it's hard to get me back up off the couch. But while I'm running, my personality is very much go, 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 go. My father's like that. My granddad was like that. My granddad worked until the day he died. He was on his way to the gym when he passed. And that works well in our industry, which is, we get there at 8, 7:30, and we stay till 6, 6:30. We clean. We don't take breaks. We don't sit down. It's 12 hours nonstop, moving, grinding, hot, sweaty, and I get a kick out of that.
It's a little bit like a Sloss Furnace.
Yep. Except for we don't have a foundry. We just got a little baby grill.
Baby grill. It is a baby grill.
It's a baby grill.
What keeps you up at night? One thing, quick fire.
The Fermi paradox.
You might want to.
Like the idea, and this is a deep dive. You said what keeps me up at night. The idea that we haven't found or haven't been told about secondary life and intelligent life. It's crazy how we haven't done it. There's got to be a reason why, and the possibilities for that are all horrifying. So if you really want to stay up at night and feel me on why I stay up at night, just Google the Fermi paradox and read the Wikipedia page, because it's a deep dive into some stuff where I'm not smart enough to know the answer, but I'm smart enough to understand that I probably should be scared.
Okay. I just didn't see it coming. I'm going to Wikipedia that for sure.
Fermi.
All right. Everywhere but Antarctica, now in a tiny brick building attached to a parking garage that has a John Lewis mural on the outside of it.
Shout out to Duane Moton, the artist. We got to paint that. John Lewis is a personal hero of mine, regardless of the political stuff. I don't even have to get into that, but being a freedom rider and fighting for people's rights when nobody else was.
Yeah.
Think the world of him.
I bring this on the plane with me. It's here in Birmingham. I have something called a magic picnic basket. So I personally don't believe in the death penalty. So this is my version of a death row meal. Instead of that, I want to bring you some stuff that brings you life. So I can time travel. I can go back in time to conscript anybody to make anything specific that you would like. I can source a little bit. I can cook a little bit. And I would love to bring you a few of your favorite things. They don't have to go together. It just has to be what you would like. What can I bring you?
So the mama's boy in me is going to tell you that my grandmother on my mother's side passed away before I was of the age of recollection, before I knew what was going on. And my father, to this day, tells me that she made the best chicken and dumplings that have ever been made. I would very much like to try those because we lost her recipes and I've never been able to, and we've never been able to replicate it. So that's something that would feed my soul, right, given the opportunity to try my family's chicken and dumplings. Now, I don't know if they're going to be good or not. But
let me be the judge.
But the memory sustains my father, and that's something that I would like to try. In addition to that, my family is from a tiny island in Greece called Lesbos. And Lesbos is known for many things. You can also look up Sappho. She is an artist. And that's probably the most prominent historical significance of the island of Lesbos. That being said, the olive oil from Lesbos is citrusy and sweet and bright and lovely. And anytime you want to bring me a bottle, I will take it with open arms because it's great as salad dressing. It's great to saute onions in. Mm-hmm. I am always sustained by tiramisu. Mm-hmm. It's a combination of my favorite things: coffee, mascarpone cheese, a little bit of cocoa powder. When it's done right, it is exquisite.
And not too sweet.
Not too sweet. And there will always be a place in my heart for cold water, small, briny oysters on the half shell with some lemon, some fresh horseradish, and maybe a mignonette. Every time I eat an oyster, usually at Automatic Seafood with the Evans, they're lovely people. Their oysters are spectacular. Mm-hmm. I think of Bourdain's quote, which is, the first oyster was definitely eaten out of necessity, but it was immediately followed by a second, a third, a fourth, and a fifth, because that's how I feel about them. Somebody lucked out when they found that ugly little rock and turned it into food.
Exactly. Sometimes I'm like, that was one of the hardest things I wrote about him, actually. And for 2020, it's not fun for me to eat them by myself at home, even though I could source them and chuck them. Yeah. There is something communal about it as well.
And in a very real sense, as someone that has shucked oysters for like a job where I got paid to shuck a lot of oysters, please don't make me do it again. Like,
we'll pay. We'll pay someone.
I will pay you, and I appreciate it because it's a legitimate skill set, and you get Popeye forearms, and it's worth it. But man, it is. It's not something I want to go back to.
That's right. Well, we're going to stick with hot dogs then. If people want to learn more about Lee and Gus's hot dogs, you can go to thesouthernfork.com. I'm going to have links there as well as images so you can see all the sloppy dogs I ate today. And I didn't eat all of them, but I did eat a lot. If you like what you hear, yeah, I like doing this job, even though it kind of half kills me sometimes. Ever in Birmingham, please go to Gus's. It is one of the best. And thank you so much for spending so much time with me on a Friday lunch shift.
It was my pleasure. I appreciate you facilitating me having a little bit of fun. I love what I do and I love taking care of my guests, but it is nice to take a break and talk about taking care of my guests. So it's a nice little break, and we'll just get back to work because I'm sure the line's building.
I know, exactly. Hello and welcome to Talking with My Mouth Full. I know that this weekend Lee is participating in the Birmingham Greek Festival, and I also know that Birmingham has a very vibrant and well-documented Greek community who have been a backbone of the restaurant community there for generations. This is not the only place in the South where this has happened. You can find Greek restaurateurs throughout other areas of the South, and definitely in my hometown of Charlotte, North Carolina, there was a very strong Greek restaurant community. I pretty much associate this with my college days for specific reasons. When you're a college student, you don't have much money, right? And the Greek community in Charlotte really did a lot of what we would term now to be fast casual, but they did some sandwich shops and then also a lot of diners. And I was really into live music in my college days, and I'm still into live music, but I don't get the opportunity to go see it as much as I did in college. But often we would spend time in a Greek diner close to Independence Boulevard in downtown Charlotte. That is now, I believe, it was close to Central Piedmont Community College. I think it might be a parking deck now. In other words, it doesn't exist anymore. But alongside what I would term those Southern diner things or standbys like beef and gravy with mashed potatoes or fried okra or stewed squash, I'd also find some Greek specialties. And so one of my favorite comfort foods is really a gyro and tzatziki sauce. I love tzatziki sauce. And I really think that comes from my college days when I was spending money on my own and not eating at home nearly as much. So anyway, if you have a Greek festival in your community, I highly recommend that you go out and support that festival. They are usually lots of fun, and of course, food is a centerpiece that I look for. So anyway, thanks so much for listening. I hope this episode made you hungry. Editing it made me want to get a hot dog with everything on it. All right, talk to you soon.
You've been listening to The Southern Fork. I can't wait to bring you more culinary conversations, but in the meantime, I have one question. Are you going to eat all that?